Hello everyone, Attorney John DeGasperis here. I'm the PI guy. I was cleaning out my evidence locker here at the office. I came across this bicycle helmet. This bicycle helmet was claimant's exhibit number 1 in a civil trial that I had in the New York State Court of Claims up in Albany, New York. I represented an Ulster County man who was injured in a bicycle accident. We filed suit against the New York State Department of Transportation. The claim was that the New York State Department of Transportation negligently maintained the roadway. My client was an avid cyclist, a professional. He took it very seriously. He followed all the rules of the road. He had the skins, the outfit, the tight outfit that cyclists wear. He wore his helmet. He had proper reflective gear. He had a little computer that tracked his speed in miles. He's down in the hoops, as he describes it, and he's riding down State Route 213 in Rosendale. He's as far right as he can be on the roadway, and suddenly he hit the front tire of his bicycle, hits a pothole, and he goes over the handlebars. Total wipeout. The guy is totally shocked. He's laying in the road. It was witnessed by people. They came to his aid. And as they're helping him out of the road, a big yellow school bus comes down the roadway, and it's driven by a woman who lived in a house right across from the pothole. And I'll tell you why she becomes important in just a minute. So my client fractures his clavicle. He's got 2 fractured ribs. He's got a punctured lung, and he's got bruises and scrapes and abrasions all over his body. He's transported to a hospital, and ultimately he needs orthopedic care and treatment. He does some physical therapy, no surgeries. So we file suit against the Department of Transportation. And what's interesting is the Department of Transportation at least once a year sends a fleet of vehicles out that have cameras mounted to them. And they take still shots every millisecond, basically. And during discovery, we got these images that were taken just about 1 year before the accident. And those images proved that that pothole had been in the highway for close to a year. Now that's the state of New York's own evidence. So I feel great about my case. Even better, that bus driver who lived across from the pothole, she was a witness, and she gave us a statement. She ultimately testified at the time of trial that that pothole had been there for several years. And I remember her testimony. She described that in the summer months, when the windows in her house were open, she could hear the tires of cars hitting the pothole. So this was important because as the plaintiff, we are obligated to show that the state of New York had prior notice of the pothole. If the state of New York doesn't know about the pothole, then we lose. And this is always a challenge in cases like this. So as a plaintiff's injury lawyer, I take these cases with a certain amount of risk involved. This was a great case on liability, but the state of New York refused to settle. So we took it to trial. And in the Court of Claims, you get no jury. Okay, so you try the case with a judge only, and this is the same, this is consistent. This is the law. Anytime you're going to sue the state of New York, you have to sue the state of New York in the Court of Claims, and you get a judge only, no jury. It's a liability trial only, so we're only going to try the issue of liability, and you get your trial on damages if you win liability. So we tried it. Plaintiff's Exhibit 1. The helmet was cracked. My client fell so hard. Thank God he's wearing this thing. So we have the trial and we win liability. Now it was a compromise verdict, so the judge found that my client should have been more careful. So there was some comparative fault. I didn't like that ruling. I think if I try that case with a jury, there's no comparative fault. But I kind of expected that. I don't really think that that's fair. My client's doing 20-some miles an hour. He's like 2.5 feet off the ground, 3 feet off the ground. He's not seeing that pothole. And the pothole was elongated. It wasn't this wide pothole that he would have seen as he's approaching it. And there were shadows, but whatever. 75% against the state of New York. So we get the damages trial scheduled a little bit down the road, and in the meantime, the state of New York calls. They offer $100,000, and my client agreed to accept it. There's an argument the case could have been worth more. However, I think the stronger argument was that if you went to trial on damages only with the judge only, no jury again, that we may have gotten less, okay? And I didn't want to risk that. The client didn't want to risk that. Thankfully, he didn't have any surgery. He made a good recovery. He missed only 2 months from work, 2 or 3 months from work. got back on his bike and he was riding again. He was healthy, so we took the $100,000. Now, the interesting fact that I wanted to share, other than the case story, is that most bicycle accidents that I handle are not motor vehicle versus bike. So what I mean is that cars and drivers are not causing most bike accidents. Most accidents involving bicyclists occur due to road defects. And so if ever you're injured while riding a bicycle and that injury is caused by some form of road defect, you should consider hiring a personal injury lawyer, because you might have a cause of action or a case against the governmental body that's responsible for maintaining the roadway. So if it's a state roadway, you can sue the state. If it's a county roadway, you can sue the county. If it's a village or city, you sue the respective village or city or town. And I've handled many cases like this where due to a highway defect, there might be a car accident, a motorcycle accident, or a bicycle accident. And so I thought that that was an interesting story to share and an interesting fact. Be careful out there on your bicycles this summer. Wear your helmets. That's it from the PI Guy.